party.
What is up guys, it's Jordan here and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be talking about common mistakes that people make in Rainbow Six Siege. This is going to be a list of points of things that I've seen people do from like very new players to about medium experienced people. Once you get like really experienced with the game, you shouldn't be doing these mistakes. So this is aimed at new to medium experienced players, but without further ado, we'll hop straight into the video. The first tip on the list is forgetting which walls can and can't be shot through. This is primarily for defenders, but it does relate to attackers as well. But I see a lot of people that sort of hide behind walls that can easily be shot through, and I can't count the amount of times that I've seen people get wall banged just from sitting behind a really obvious wall that can be shot straight through, and especially ones that have like slight holes or bullet holes in them, because with Glaz and his thermal scope, he can see anyone hiding behind walls. And as well as that, you just get the people that spray randomly to try and get lucky, and it happens a lot. People get killed just by someone spraying through a wall to check that it's clear. I also see people standing behind windows and doors, or at least within range of them, and a lot of the time, including me, I do this all the time. If I'm attacking, I will just shoot through a door before going through it, or a window, and the amount of times people get killed or headshotted just by standing by or near a wall, door, or anything like that is ridiculous. So yeah, remember to learn which walls can be shot through, and make sure you're hiding behind something that can't be shot through, so if someone does decide to randomly shoot near you, you don't get killed. Next point is defenders peeking too much. Now a lot of people know this one because the amount of times people, gone about it in chat. If you're playing a game, I'm sure you've had at least one game where someone's been raging about peeking too much and telling them to stay put. And yeah, this is just something that I think is really important when you're defending, especially if the attackers have Glaz. Make sure that you are playing time, because being a defender, your major advantage is that the attackers have to come to you, so there's really no point going out there and putting yourself out there and exposing yourself when really they have to come to you. So like, hide wherever you can, get the peek, but not one that's going to put you exposed. Peeking's fine in situations, but make sure that it's a peek where the enemies will have to go into an open area where you can see them before they can see you. If you're peeking a door which can easily also be peeked at by the other attackers, then it's just going to be down to reflexes. You're ruining that advantage you have of being the defender if you're just going to basically charge them as well. So make sure you're careful when you're peeking and you don't make yourself too obvious, and just use the fact that you have time to your advantage. Next up is not knowing your operator roles in ranked games. I feel like if you're playing a ranked game, make sure you're definitely playing an operator that you know exactly what to do with and where you're needed. An example of this is Twitch players. A lot of people play Twitch and just kind of get the drone destroyed. People that play Twitch and then charge their drone straight into the room to try and get the points for finding the objective annoy me beyond belief, because that is not what you're supposed to be doing. Twitch's drone is not really there for, like, I guess recon, you would say. You're not supposed to use it to try and find the objective, to spot enemies. You're there to take out cameras, and then when you've taken out the cameras, you can then use it to maybe secure a few kills if you down people, and at the very end you can use it to obviously recon areas and like make sure that you know what you're walking into. Twitch's drone is also useful for taking out bandit traps, cap can things, all kinds of traps, but specifically the bandit ones, because it allows you to back up Thatcher if the EMPs fail. You can get behind and make it impossible for the defenders to do the bandit trap. If you have a Thatcher and a Twitch, there is no way that you can't get through a reinforced wall. So that makes Twitch a really, really important character, way more than just spotting objectives. It's way more than just a normal drone, and she has a hell of a lot of uses beyond what people use her for most of the time. But make sure you keep that first drone alive. But that's an example of Twitch. There are other operators, the worst being the ones that take Thatcher or Thermite and don't play them properly. That's less common because those operators are very easy to understand, and a lot of people know what to do with them. I'm not saying that people always do it on purpose, but just make sure you are being considerate of the character you're playing and you know where you're going to be needed. Next point is not using a microphone when you have one. Guys, if you have a microphone, just use it. It's so much more useful for you and the team. I know sometimes it can be a bit hard to start talking when no one else is, but just try, because it makes things 10 times easier. And if someone is calling out targets and chatting to you, don't reply with text chat. That is like so irritating when people do that. If you have a microphone, just use it. The more you use it, the more you interact with teams and the more you sort of put yourself out there, the easier it becomes. And before too long, if you're worried about chatting in front of people when no one else is speaking, you won't even notice it. And you will do so much better if you're communicating, because you will never ever be able to be an organized team that's talking if you're not. not. Next up is roaming poorly, and I feel like this one is something people do a lot of the time. They think that roaming is just charging out there to get kills, and basically, you know, you're not expected to live that long. Like when someone roams and they get 1 kill and they trade, so 1 kill and they also die, and they're like, oh, it's fine guys, I killed someone. That's really not a good thing. Like, it's not worth the trade because it's still going to be on the exact same even ground, unless you kill like a thermite. Maybe sometimes if you kill thermite, it can be okay, but when you're roaming, your main goal is to delay and slow down the attackers, not necessarily to get kills. So don't go charging out there trying to get ridiculous peaks or just going head on for the enemy. You're not supposed to be doing that. At the end of the day, if you're roaming, you're still supposed to try and stay alive. Like, that's the entire goal, not just to try and get a kill, because if you get 1 kill and die, it doesn't make it an instant worth, because you've still lost an operator. It doesn't make it useful. So just remember, if you are roaming, that you have a role to slow them down, not to try and kill off as many as you can to make it easier, not to try and get the highest kills and look good on the leaderboard. It's just to slow them down. And if you do die, hopefully by the time you die, if you do, the attackers will have much less time than they did at the beginning, meaning that it's going to be much harder for them to get into the room without having to charge in, and if they do charge in because they run out of time, it makes it so much easier for the remaining defenders to get the kills. Next point is kind of related to roaming, and that is going lone wolf, primarily for attackers. If you're defending and you're roaming, lone wolfing can be accepted sometimes, but if you're attacking and you see the whole team going for one area, don't bother going lone wolf, especially if you're like a newer player. There are times if you're playing with a well-organized team that lone wolfing can be okay. Like if you have a plan and you're communicating and you know what it is, then I can understand that. But if you're just playing solo and you just decide to go off on your own in the hopes of getting more kills or maybe getting a flank, it's really not going to work out that great for you. There is a reason that Siege is a team-based game, and that is because teams always win. Communicating and everything is key, and going off on your own is going to leave you so susceptible to getting sneaked up on by roamers, or even just outplayed by more than one person being in front of you. Unless you are like an esports pro and you can like 1v5, it's really not recommended. The best thing to do is make sure you buddy up. Like, think of it as army of 2. As long as you have one person with you, you're going to be a lot better off than going off on your own. And as well as this, if you're running off on your own, not only does it mean that the chances of you dying are higher, it also means that you're leaving the rest of your team with a person down, and that means one less angle that can be covered when they're pushing or trying to plant or whatever it is they're doing. So you could also be causing them to get killed off easier as well, because there could be that one angle that can't be covered because there's just not enough people there. Next point is forgetting about the time limit. The time limit is like, it's easy to forget about it, okay? I understand, I've done it myself when you're like in a really intense situation and you just forget that there's a time limit there. But honestly, there is nothing worse than realizing you have 20 seconds to get into the objective room, and to be honest, I think the chance of success of winning when you're down to like 20 seconds and you have to charge in is got to be like very, very low. Like, going back to my earlier point, the defenders can easily play time because they can just sit in one spot and just wait for you to run through the door. If they know where you are and you're low on time, it's going to be extremely easy for them to kill you when you charge in. And not only that, the worst thing is if you realize that there's barbed wire between you and the objective room and you get stuck in it and you just don't get in time and then you run out of time, that's the worst way to lose. So when you're playing a game, no matter how intense it is, no matter what's going on, just make sure that you are keeping an eye on the time and that you know exactly how long it takes to get from where you are to the objective room, and also that you kind of know roughly where the enemies are, because if you do need to make a last minute push, you want to make sure that you're not walking in blind, otherwise a defender will easily get the jump on you. Next up is not calling for help when you need it, and again this goes back to the microphone point. If you are stuck and you're struggling, don't just try and one-man army it, because it will probably end in you dying. If you know where the enemy is and they've just kind of got you pinned in a corner, call for help. That's why you have teammates. They can easily get the flank if someone is distracted by trying to kill you, and if you have a microphone, make sure you use it, because if you stop, type and put in chat, you know, stuck in so-and-so, come get me or whatever, it means that that guy can easily kill you because you can't move while you're typing. If you have a microphone, all you need to do is hold down one button and you can easily call out exactly where you are, where the attacker is, and you can give real-time updates on where he's moving so that your friend who's coming up around the flank can easily get the kill. And yes, you may have lost a kill, it doesn't matter though, because you're still alive and able to get more kills and support the team. Final point is not using equipment enough. You have flashbangs, you have smokes, you have all these things. When you get to the higher ranks, you'll see there's less, but in the lower ranks, a lot of the time, or even casual, sorry, a lot of the time people just don't make use of the fact they have flashbangs, grenades, and smokes. Especially with smokes, you can support Glaz a lot with smokes. It really annoys me when I see someone or Glaz smoke out a doorway and then someone else complains like hell because they can't see. Because the reason it's smoked out is so that Glaz can clear that room out for you so that you can move in safely. But the thing is, people get upset because they can't see and they think that, you know, Glaz is going to get a kill, which could be theirs. Guys, I would not worry about going for the kill races. It really does annoy me when I see people that get upset about the smoke grenade issue, because it's just because they want kills. Because at the end of the day, all Glaz is doing is making it safe for you to push in, therefore keeping you alive for longer. So there's no point complaining about it just because, you know, there could have been a kill in there for you, because it's not kills that get you up in ranks, it's winning, and that is how you win games, by playing with your team. So if you have a smoke as well, use it. Support Glaz, smoke out a corridor, let him clear it for you. Doesn't matter if he gets kills, that's good. That means less enemies that can kill you and a higher chance of winning. Same with flashbangs. The amount of time that I've seen people run into rooms like they know that someone is in and not flash it out. Like, why would you not use the flashbang if you have one? Like, if you know someone's in the objective room, flash grenade, move in, makes it easy to get kills. And as well as that, you can bait people with flashbangs. If you throw a flash in, flash them out, and then run towards the door but not in, they will start probably randomly firing if they're blind, or they'll run around to try and get safe. This makes it even easier to detect who's in the room and whereabouts they are, making for some very easy kills. And finally, grenade. A lot of people think that grenades are useless, and it all just comes down to cooking them, to be honest. You just gotta make sure that you hold it for long enough and don't just throw it, because they're quite easy to avoid if you haven't cooked the grenade. And as well as that, don't think of them as just tools for getting kills. You can use grenades to flush out enemies and get them to move around, and that is probably the biggest use of them. If you know that someone's like buried in a corner and they're pretty good, they're in a good position and it's hard to get to, throw a grenade behind it, because even if it doesn't kill them, you're forcing them to move, and if they have like a deployable shield or barbed wire, it will destroy that as well. So they have a lot of uses beyond just getting kills. Anyway guys, that was all for this video. They were the common mistakes that I can think of. If you guys did enjoy this video, then do smack that like button and subscribe for some more awesome Siege content. And as always, if you have any points to add to this video, do drop them in the comments, because I am sure there are loads of other things that people have seen in Siege, but this is just a list of common things that I have seen. Anyway, I hope you guys do have an amazing rest of your week and weekend, because we're coming up to Friday, and I will see you in the next one.